Dah left dah. Mana Wan Nazihah, mana Wan Nazihah? Okay, before we start, I just want to ask you a few things. The first aspect that I want to know, have you checked your examination time? Dah check belum?
Dah check, doktor.
So, bila
Ada
hari tarikhnya? Saya pun lupa.
second.
Sorry?
22nd of February.
22nd of February?
Yeah.
Lamanya.
Tapi doktor, kita orang punya ada clash dengan course lain.
Oh, your apa? You punya this paper? Clash dengan apa?
Dengan marketing for innovative product.
Oh, the same date and the same time?
They only have one specific time. So it seems like you only have one exam on a particular day.
Okay. So how many papers that you guys have for this semester? How many subjects?
Final exam we have 5. One don't have final exam. So total we have 5.
Oh, there is one subject don't have final exam. What
Yeah,
subject
yeah.
tak ada final exam?
English for professional purpose.
English. Okay, but the rest you have a final exam.
Yeah, yeah.
Itulah aku malah buat final exam. But 22nd, so but it's up. I'm not. I'm still waiting for the finalized date. 22nd is quite late because my first paper, I have another subject which is 4043 or perhaps for you guys 3153 letter. So that subject, the date for the examination is on the 8th of February. Okay, and then the kalau 22 tu dah hujung-hujung dah. So I'm very struggle lah nanti letter to tanda you punya exam. Okay, for your information, with regard to your final examination, let me give you some what we call it some background of the final exam for this paper. Okay, the final examination will contribute 40% as mentioned on the course outline. So a week before the final exam, I'm going to give you case study. Okay, section A, definitely a case study for my subject. So you're going to read the case study. If you receive the case study letter, don't feel demotivated. It looks very long case study. However, yang long tu kebanyakan adalah basically appendix. Okay, so when you read the case study, it's going to take about 11 pages. Okay, and the English for the case study for me is still acceptable. That means not a high English, even though I basically taken the case study from Harvard Business School case study. Okay, so basically nanti a week before your final exam, I'm going to share on the e-learning the case study for the final exam. Kita ada satu case study. So you need to read, you need to actually, saya tak bagi soalan lagi, so you need to actually expect apa soalan saya akan tanya. Okay? Faham tak semua? Can you actually understand what I'm trying to say right now? So for the final examination, basically, there are 2 sections. For the case study, it's going to contribute about, saya try to remember, about 50%. Okay? That is 50%. 50%. Yes, 50%. Okay? So that's actually for the case study. Agak banyak lah sebenarnya contribution dia. So please read before I give you the question for the case study. Okay? Okay, so I believe saya dah lowerkan saya punya expectation for the final exam since it's actually online. For last semester, basically we didn't have the final exam. I just replaced the final exam by giving a case study, and then the student need to answer like assignment. They submitted by the end of on the deadline lah. But for this time around, since the faculty insisted many of the subject to be conducted through online, the online final examination, So I decided to give two part. Soalan tu saya rasa kalau saya buat the final exam right now, most probably you can answer it well, most probably. Okay, because saya buat soalan tu tak susah pun sebenarnya. Okay, and then one of the topic that we're going to discuss, few of the topic yang I'm going to discuss today basically related with the case study. Punya final exam. Okay, faham Any other question? And second part, nanti by the end of this class, I want all of the group to update me the progress of your group project. Okay, so tomorrow we don't have class since I need to organize one competition for a UTMX site. So having said that, I will give you 1 hour for tomorrow to improvise, to basically improve, to what we call it, progress with your project. Okay. Okay, today we're going to cover chapter 10, chapter 11 and chapter 12. Chapter 10 is it? Wait a moment, saya nak check. Oh. Okay, di chapter 13. Oh, chapter 11. Okay. Okay, so chapter 11, the marketing and sales plan. Okay, so saya cakap direct lah, this topic will be discussed, will be what we call it, will be tested for your final exam. Okay, so we're going to discuss this topic, the marketing and sales plan. I believe that since you were not actually facing problem with regard to the marketing aspect, since you said that this semester you also learning about marketing for innovative product, more or less is actually much related. Okay. However, when we come to marketing, you need to know who is actually your target market. That's the ultimate questions. Okay. Besides what basically the product that you're going to market, that you're going to offer to the customers, but the main question, who are your targeted customers? Who's going to buy your product? Okay. So if you look here from the quotation, successful salesmanship is 90% preparation and 10% presentation. Okay, it's very important at the first place you understand your customer segment. Okay, I hope that you still remember about the BMC. And then one of the key element under BMC, basically customer segment. You should understand who is your customers. No matter how advanced or how complicated the product or services you're going to offer to the customers, you should understand who is your customers at the first place. For example, what basically the attribute, the personality, the purchasing power. So many aspects that you need to know about your customers before you approach them with the solution. Okay, so what is the best way to attract, serve and retain customers? Having said that, any firm need to build a marketing plan that describe how it will attract, serve, and retain the customers targeted for each product. Okay, so having said that, if you know that your customer, for example, as simple that we actually classify the customer, for example, based on the income level, for example. So we have three segments, like in Malaysia, like B40, M40, and T20, for example, based on the income level. Okay, maybe you would know if you want to approach the customers that coming from B40, so you cannot offer them or you cannot charge them with the higher price. Okay, that means maybe the product is actually not so for example, like not so expensive, and then you just offering a basic features of technology. As simple as, for example, like Huawei, and say we discussed before, Huawei and Honor, right? So Huawei basically have another what we call it subsidiary, or perhaps another marketing arm for each product called Honor. So Honor basically targeting those customers who don't have the affordability to buy expensive phone, but they really want to have this kind of smartphone. That's actually how you're going to retain that. Or perhaps, for example, like, kenapa banyak yang keluar ni? Malini, where is Malini? Kenapa Malini keluar semula? Is it you having problem? Guys, okay, be prepared Okay, for the final exam, and this is as a reminder. So for the final exam, since you need to open your camera later, so make sure you be prepared for that. Then make sure your internet is okay. If you're facing any problem, so this is my advice. You basically can simply make a request, okay, from the faculty or from the university lah, generally, you can make a request from the faculty that you're going to sit the final examination at the nearest university campus, regardless where you are. For example, basically UTM can make a request from, contohnya you dekat Penang. Okay, you think you want to set for final exam, you can make a request from USM. So UTM can simply make a request to USM for the final exam. You faham tak maksudnya? Ataupun basically you dekat Sarawak, or you basically, tapi if you are in Indonesia, I couldn't help you lah. So maybe it's actually cross border punya arrangement. Not pretty sure about those who is Indonesia. Okay, in Indonesia. Okay, so basically siapa yang ada problem, be prepared. Saya tak nak nanti during the final exam you ada problem, so be prepared for that. Okay. Okay, so marketing is a set of activities with the objective of securing, serving, and retaining customers for firm product offering. Having said that, okay, from your point of view, why marketing is very important, everyone? Guys, why do you think that when you want to run a business or you venture into entrepreneurship business, so why do you think that marketing plays a crucial aspect in the business operation? Anyone?
To attract customer.
Yes. Besides that, okay, that's very good answer. Good. So what else? To promote product and services, what else?
To give exposure about your product.
To give exposure about your product so that the customers know about the product and will buy it. Is it? Okay, what else? Lagi?
To understand your customer more.
I love the answer. To understand your customer more. Okay, when we talk about marketing, it's not only about approaching the customer and selling it, but understanding your customer is very crucial. That means before you develop the product. So that's the reason why, because marketing ni definitely will impact few things in the business operation. For example, okay, if you want to sell tudung, as simple as you want to sell tudung or scarf or hijab, for example. So first of all, you should know who is your customers. That's one part. Okay. Okay, for example, you nak jual tudung bawal. Okay, that's a basic tudung. Okay, so you need to know who basically your customers. Maybe tudung bawal, more or less, you want to sell among the youngsters. Those basically among the Muslim age between 15 to 40 years old, for example. Okay, so you kena tahu, okay, if you want to approach this customer, what basically the approach? First is going to actually what we call it impact, okay, your operation, simply because you kena actually from marketing. Dalam marketing, first kita kena tahu who is basically our customers. Second, we want to know every month how much unit of tudung, how much unit of product or output that we're going to sell to the customers. Okay, for example, in the month, okay, in the month of January, okay, dalam bulan January, you're going to sell 10 tudung. Okay, you want to sell 10 tudung or 10 scarf. Okay, so basically for a piece of tudung, a piece, is it? Okay, a piece of tudung, how many meters of fabric that you need, or fabric material that you need? Apa sini pernah buat tudung sendiri? Atika, if you want to produce a tudung, so berapa meter? How many meters of fabric that you need to produce that tudung? Atika?
1 meter, maybe.
1 meter. Saya tak tahu. Saya tak tahu. Okay, maybe 1 meter. Okay, you said that 1 meter. So that means if you want to produce, for example, like in January, you're targeting to sell 50 tudung. So having said that, berapa meter of fabric or material that you need to buy? That you need to have? Berapa? Kalau you want to sell 50 tudungs? Hello, basic math code. Guys, Atika said that for you to produce a tudung, you requires one meter. So in January, you're targeting that you're going to sell 50 tudungs. Okay, 50 scarf. Okay, so having said that, Christopher, you need more than 50 meters. So that's actually in operation planning. Sebab itu, for example, you kena tahulah maybe you tak boleh ngam-ngam. Kalau you nak jual, you kena actually prepare your stock more than 50 units. Okay, more than what you expected to sell. Because maybe there would be, yes, ready stock 50, but you need to prepare more. Faiz, okay, you nak jual 50 tudung dalam Januari, you tak boleh prepare 50 tudung. You need to prepare maybe like 55 or 60 tudung, okay? Because you need to expect a fluctuate demand from the customers. Maybe they need more, okay? So having said that, similarly, you need to prepare more than 50 meter. So having said that, maybe you need to prepare like 60 meter of tudung. And then maybe during the production, ada rejection. Okay, you nak buat 50 tudung, tiba-tiba satu tudung tu jahitan dia salah, for example. Okay, there's some kind of rejection. Okay, so having said that, you need to prepare more than that. So it's actually impact operation. That means you need to prepare 60 meter of fabrics to produce that tudung. And eventually, this also will impact your finance. Okay, simply because you need to pay for it, right? Okay, because you need to bargain with the suppliers, you need to pay for the material, and then you need to expect how much what we call it, how many labor hours that you need. Okay, so for you to produce one tudung, siapa lagi? Saya tanya Atika. Hani, kalau nak jahit tudung, pernah jahit tudung sendiri tak Hani? Hani Osman.
Ya, dah jahit.
Pernah jahit tudung sendiri? Pernah jahit tudung sendiri ke tidak?
Jahit lencana kat tudung pernah lah.
Apa benda?
Jahit lencana kat tudung.
Jahit lencana kat tudung. Sebenarnya buat tudung ni tak susah pun. Sebenarnya kan you just jahit tepi dan tak tahulah macam mana. Bagi saya tak susah. Okay Hani, contohnya you nak buat satu tudung tu Hani, you rasa berapa lama? How many times, how many labor hours that you need to produce that tudung? You rasa lah.
2 hari.
2 hari untuk satu tudung, is it?
Sehari ya?
Saya tak tahu. Okay, siapa sini pandai menjahit? Any one of you here very good? Okay. Zanita Khairunisa.
Ya, Dad.
Kalau kamu mau produce hijab, berapa lama ambil?
For 10 hijab, maybe 1 or 2 days. If one hijab, only 1 day.
One hijab 1 day? No. Betul ke? No. Saya rasa I'm not pretty sure. Are you sure? So what kind of hijab? The thing like that. Atika, one thing, betul ke sejam Atika? Kenapa actually I feel skeptical when you answer 1 or 2 days, because normally untuk orang jahit baju kurung atau baju Melayu dia ambil masa 1 hari. Takkanlah tudung 1 hari. Is it? Atika Wante berapa jam? Sejam, betul ke Atika Wante? Atika answered here sejam. I'm not pretty sure, but I think kita jekan elok ada jahit tepi je. Yes. Yes. Okay. So having said that, saya rasa tak susah menjahit tudung. Okay, because if you want to produce baju Melayu, okay, or baju kurung, what I know, it take about a day. So takkanlah tudung a day. Okay, so we assume like 4 hours. Okay, 4 hours. So having said that, you kena faham. Okay, for example, you want to produce a tudung. Okay, 50 helai. So 50 helai, you kena jahit tudung, you kena jahit 60. Contohnya, you nak produce 60. 60 darab dengan maybe 4 jam, 240 jam. Okay, 240 jam. So you kena kira lah. Kalau 240 jam, contohnya sebab tu you kena expect this kind of things. Okay, that means you require 200 because you want to produce 60 scarf. So if you actually try to calculate the labor hours, so it requires, for example, if one tudung, it take about 4 hours. So that means 4 darab dengan 60, 240 hours. So 240 hours, if you divide by 30 days, so that means 30 days, you divide 240, 30 days. Maksudnya 8 jam. Okay. That means 8 jam. Okay, 240 hours divide by 30 days. So per day you need to spend 8 hours. So having said that, do you actually have a labor that able to working 8 hours? Kalau ni yang kita akan impact kepada operation. Okay, so in the case that 8 hours tu tak cukup, you need to hire another 1 workers. So that's the reason why I want to say here, by having this kind of sales forecast, because when you actually go into marketing plan, one of the key aspect doing the sales forecast, and sales forecast will determine many aspects. It's going to impact the operation. Like what we said just now, not only the cost of buying the material, that means how much material, how many meters that you need to produce that tudung, but also the labor hours. And maybe you also need to consider the machine's efficiency. Okay, is it the machine that you have right now able to work 8 hours continuously? If not, you need to buy another machine. You nampak tak this kind of things going to impact so many things. Okay, so that's the reason why for me marketing is not about it's not only about understanding your customers, approaching your customers, make sure the customers buy it and eventually you get the profit, but at the same time by having this kind of marketing planning and strategy, you should know it's going to impact every single aspect. Faham tak sekarang ni? Can you understand what I'm trying to elaborate here? Can you get the what we call it the key aspect here? Faham tak? Any one of you here? Akmal? Faham? Okay. Maksudnya marketing is basically very crucial. It's not about selling the product. It's about planning everything. Okay. Okay. So you know about this, and then we go next. So this is basically the 6th element of the marketing plan. You should know about your marketing objective. So that's the reason why when we talk about marketing objective, sometimes we're going to say about short-term plan or objective and long-term objective. For example, when we talk about monthly sales, that will be fall under short-term plan. That means marketing objective for January, for example. Okay, customer target segment. Okay, I think we discussed this already. For example, who is your customers? You can divide based on their personality, based on their attribute, based on their income level. For example, based on geography. Okay, the preference of, for example, when we talk about geographical location, the preference of those people who live in Johor, who live in KL, who live in Kelantan, who live in northern state in Malaysia like Perlis or Kedah, so would be different. Betul ke tak? Okay. Contohnya kalau as simple as kalau you makan banana fritter, banana fritter, you makan pisang goreng. Okay, pisang goreng kat Johor lain dengan pisang goreng dekat Perlis. Is it anyone of you here living in you live in northern part in Malaysia? Ada siapa kat Malaysia? Kat Malaysia, dekat area utara. Siapa sini orang utara? Kedah di sini ya, Kedah. Atika Kedah mana? Atika? Kulim. Siapa lagi orang utara?
Saya.
Siapa sini? Siapa lagi orang utara ni? Atika je? Senyap ni?
Atika dan Atika.
Oh, both Atika Kedah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, selain Atika and Atika, siapa lagi? Diorang je. Okay. So apa bezanya? Apa bezanya? Kalau Indonesia apa bedanya? Pisang goreng di utara dengan pisang goreng di selatan. Di Johor. Atika. Saya dengan Atika apa bezanya? What's basically different?
Dekat utara tak ada dipping sauce yang macam...
Oh, dipping sauce? Sambal kicap no? Hang panggil dipping sauce. Hebat orang utara ni panggil dipping sauce. Lepas ni orang Johor, hampa nak makan apa? Banana frita ni. Banana frita. Banana frita ni cakap saya nak dipping sauce. Okay. So basically, that's actually the difference you should know. If you want to sell banana fritter in Johor, definitely you need to supplement the banana fritter together with dipping sauce. With the kicap lah, kicap. You panggil apa? Soy sauce, okay? You can ada soy sauce. But if you go to Utara, because previously I went to Perlis matriculation, so the first time I actually went there, and then saya ingat lagi minggu pertama ke minggu kedua, went for outing, and then I bought banana fritter, pisang goreng. And then saya tanya, mana dia punya sambal kicap? Saya macam pelik tak ada sambal kicap. Lepas tu baru saya realise, oh rupanya dekat utara tak ada sambal kicap. So that's actually the difference lah. Okay? Okay. So basically, you kena tahulah customer segment you siapa, product offering description, and then we're going to look into more marketing research and strategy. Guys, okay, before you develop your product, during development of the product, after development of the product, all of this require marketing research. Okay, for example, before you develop your product, you need to validate whether the product that you're going to develop basically fulfill the need of your customers. Okay, and then during you want to get the feedback whether they're satisfied or not with your product. Okay, that means even when you basically selling the product to the customers, you still basically need to get feedback from them. Okay, and the strategy going to be very different. We cannot, it's good basically we prepare this kind of what we call it marketing plan in the beginning, but in the business nothing basically stagnant. It's going to be fluctuate. You cannot basically comfortable with what you have. You always need to be prepared with the second scenario or third scenario. Okay, so having said that, having this kind of scenario planning is very important as well. And then marketing mix. Marketing mix ni apa? You all pernah belajar tak marketing mix? Mesti pernah belajar. What is marketing mix?
The 4P.
Pandai, yes. Marketing mix basically referring to the principle of 4 P's. Okay, which is product, price, promotion, and place. Okay, even some of the authors or some of the experts extended the 4 P's into 7 P's. They sometimes put like position lah, dia letak there are few things yang dia letak. Saya tak ingat there are few things. Okay, not only 4 P's, but the basic 4 P, the basic marketing mix would be the 4 P's. And last but not least, customer relationship management. So this is how you deal with the customers. Okay, so you're going to ensure that your customers happy with your product, your services, the services you provide to them basically satisfy their needs and demands lah. Okay, so building a marketing plan or sales plan. Kita tengok dekat sini. To build this kind of things, okay, basically sales plan part of the marketing plan normally. Marketing is beyond the sales plan. Marketing is about many things, many aspects. So having said that, marketing is the bigger role. And then ada marketing baru ada sales plan. That means how you're going to generate sales from your respected customers. Okay, so this is basically the process. It's going to start with identification of opportunity. You evaluate the opportunity. And once you finalize this going to be the opportunity you're going to exploit. Okay, so you start to develop the mission and strategy. Okay, so but again you're going to start with this kind of identification, selection of the opportunity and go to the next stage, which is mission and strategy. You need to develop the mission. Okay, for example, if you want to what we call it be the pioneer, maybe in the mission you state that you want to be the pioneer in the what we call it tudung industry, for example. You want to create this kind of tudung, so you need to come up with the business model next. Okay, what will be the business model that you need to develop based on the target market and customers? And then after you identify and finalize the customers, you need to come up with the marketing objective. Like I said just now, the marketing objective, for example, how much profit that you're going to gain, how many product or unit of output that you're going to produce in order to sell it to the customers. And then marketing research, that means you're going to validate. And then from the output, from the findings that you gather based on the marketing research, you're going to formulate your own marketing plan and finally the sales plan. Okay, sama juga. Okay, for example, I want you to look at this kind of diagram here, from opportunity to the sales plan. How are you going to develop your mobile apps? Macam mana? How you relate this with your mobile apps? Anyone? Anyone? Can you give me the... Sorry, if you want to market your... Alamak. Wait a moment. Okay. Boleh? Sorry. Anyone? Okay, sekarang ni, what I want you to do, by looking at this kind of thing, tell me within 30 seconds, how are you going to develop this kind of marketing plan or sales plan for your mobile apps project? Hello? Anyone there? Do you understand my question, everyone? You faham tak ni?
Really understand.
Sorry?
Not really understand.
Not really understand. Okay, I basically want you to give a scenario. So, the thing like this. Okay, based on this kind of process flow, so why and what and how do you think that you could develop your mobile apps punya ni based on this? Contohnya start with the opportunity, mission, business model, try to relate with your project. You faham tak maksudnya? Hello? Okay, for example, I give example and after that I want to listen from you. For example, I take the example of Grab. Okay, so how basically Grab basically identify opportunity because they're looking in terms of the market in the Southeast Asia, whereby based on the current context, based on the previous context in Malaysia, so we're having problem with taxi services. So that is actually opportunity that you have. So after you know that there's opportunity, you basically develop your mission. You want to become the ride sharing pioneer or leader in Malaysia. And then what basically the business model? So basically you try to focus on development of the apps, okay, to approach the customers and become the what we call it middleman, the intermediaries between the customers and the drivers. And then who's the target market? Macam itulah, faham tak maksud saya ni? Okay, just actually share some kind of story ataupun sebab tu saya tak perlukan lama, just minit 30 second. Tak perlu, okay, ataupun sampai marketing objective pun cukup. Boleh tak fahamkan? So basically relate back, I want you to relate with your current project. So what opportunity that you have and how you develop the mission, and from the mission how basically you form business model and eventually who is your target market. Boleh? Okay? Boleh tak? Nuri Izzah, cubalah Nuri Izzah. Nuri Izzah, cuba try apa you punya project.
Kami punya apps buat pasal exercise.
Kejap. Bagi saya 30 saat. Sorry, bagi saya 2 minit. Kejap Break.
Okay.
Very important. Okay, sorry, ada sedikit isu yang saya kena solve. Boleh kita continue everyone? Guys?
Boleh.
Okay, just so, okay, kita skip this one. So basically, this is not really complicated, but as long as you know how to relate the process of developing the marketing plan and sales plan based on your ad or based on any kind of business, that will be good enough. Okay, I'm going to continue with next slide. Okay, so a market segment consists of a group with similar need or wants or may include geographical location, purchasing power, and buying attitude. So one of the key aspects, and I know that basically you have learned about this, is about how you try to segmentize the market. So we can definitely segmentize the market based on several aspects. Okay, for example, like they're focusing on buying attitude, they're focusing on purchasing power or geographical location. Okay, so having said that, when you want to segmentize the market, first of all, you need to understand your customers and then you group them based on certain aspect. Okay, for example, as simple as when you group them based on demographic. Okay, so as simple as when I give you example like shampoo. Okay, I always actually when it comes to market segmentation, if you look at shampoo, okay, just a normal shampoo, but if you actually want to market to boys, untuk lelaki, untuk men, so basically they don't bother much about shampoo. They just actually want to have a good shampoo, and I think for the boys, you just focusing on dandruff lah, remomo. Okay. However, for girls, you have so many type of shampoo. Maybe you want to find something that for hijabis, okay, untuk yang pakai scarf, for example, and maybe you want to focus on long hair. Maybe you want to focus on not having so much chemical substance on your shampoo. So if you try to look from PNG, I think I have given the example. Okay, Procter and Gamble. When they produce the kind of shampoo, they have the Pantene under their company. They have Head and Shoulder under their company, and they also have Herbal Essence. So these three main products basically produced by PNG. But the way they want to market the product basically different. For Pantene, okay, for Pantene, siapa dia punya ambassador for Pantene for so many years? Siapa ambassador for Pantene? Anyone of you here using Pantene shampoo? Anggun, correct. Nurul Izzah, thank you very much. Okay, because they want to represent that the product is basically suitable for those who want to take care of their long hair, for example. So for all these years, Anggun from Indonesia lah. So Anggun basically become their ambassador. Head and Shoulder. Okay, Head and Shoulder ni dia actually want to represent that they're focusing on unisex. But many of the advertisement, okay, produced by Head and Shoulder basically targeting men. Okay, so you nampak dia punya model dia pun, if I'm not mistaken, siapa Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, either one of these footballers. Okay, because they really want to target those footballers. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo become the ambassador for Head and Shoulder. Okay, so they want to attract men to buy the product. Okay, okay, so that's actually we're talking from shampoo perspective. That means that segmentize the product based on the customers. And if you look like Coca-Cola, okay, like Coke, basically they also segmentize the product based on several aspects. Okay, initially they only have the classic Coca-Cola, the red color one. Okay, but since people are complaining that there are a lot of sugar on the Coca-Cola, so they try to come out with this kind of diet Coke. Still have a amount of sugar but less sugar. Dia pun buat diet Coke. Okay, and then still people are actually saying that there's still a sugar, so they're coming out with a product called Zero Coke. So with this kind of branding and product, they try to develop the product based on the customer segment and preferences, the buying attitude. If you look here, okay, maybe the lifestyle of the customers, that actually what decided them to develop the product based on the market segments. Okay, Okay, so we go next. 4 crucial questions to ask about your target market. Okay, so before you enter into the market, so this basically the main question. The first one, is there a target market segment where the company can enter the market and provide clear customer benefit at the price the customer is willing to pay? Having said that, if you look at this question, definitely we're going to ask whether there will be a market. Is it someone going to buy your product? If they actually wanted to buy, if they actually have the affordability to buy your product, at what price? Okay. The second aspect, do customers perceive that this benefit are superior to other solution? Okay. So having said that, when you want to market the product, you actually need to look in terms of FAB punya element. Pernah dengar tak FAB ni? Okay. Whatever thing that you want to market, so make sure you go to into FAB. Pernah dengar tak FAB? Anyone can make a guess? What is FAB all about? Okay, tak apa, saya terang kat sini. F basically features. Okay, what basically the features of your product? A basically advantages. So, and B benefit. Okay, the main difference, maybe like features you tahu macam mana you nak look at the features. For example, if you are selling apps, okay, apa features apps tu? So you kena tahu. And then ada dua benda. Okay, there are two things that you also need to concern when it comes to your product development to the customer segment. A basically advantages. What makes your product different than the competitors? What basically the uniqueness of the product? Advantage. Okay, B benefit. Okay, benefit from the eyes of the customers. That means A is actually you compare your product with the competitor's product. Meanwhile, for the benefit, what basically the benefit gained by the targeted customers. Okay. Okay, the next part, how large is the target market and how fast is it growing? So the next aspect is we're going to look in terms of the market size. Okay, so when we talk about the target market segment, the large, the size of the target market segment, you should know. Okay, even though perhaps some of the aspect is very good for certain people, but they actually do not grow well. Okay, sebab tu kita kena tahu. Okay, you need to understand the market at the first place. If you actually manage to go, for example, people nowadays talking in terms of the emergence of Indonesia as the emerging country. Because we're expecting in the next few years, Indonesia will become a big economy, okay? A big economy due to its population and growing number of middle income people. So, those Indonesia, you are the asset lah sekarang ni. Dekat kelas ni kita ada few Indonesian. You should know that your country is moving towards the right direction. In terms of, because you have a big market, okay? How many population in Indonesia right now? Anyone? Berapa besar population in Indonesia? Guys? Guys, berapa population Indonesia sekarang ini? Orang Indonesia ada di sini kan? So how basically the size of the Indonesian population? Hello? Wah, siap ada. Yes. Okay, if you look there, wait a moment. Kalau you lihat dekat sini, yes, it's almost 270 million. How many population in Malaysia? Berapa population dekat Malaysia?
32 million.
Yes. So, siapa yang lagi besar?
Indonesia.
Correct. Okay. If you look here, it's about 8 times bigger. The population in Indonesia basically about 8 times bigger than Malaysia. Okay. So Indonesia have more potential. Cuma yes, a lot of potential due to the size of the country. Sama juga dia, tapi tak semestinya negara yang ada population besar have a high potential. Sama juga contohnya macam India and China. China developed very well because their what we call it economy, their strategy of their economy basically quite centralized. Dia akan buat benda tu based on the country. Meanwhile, in India, even though they have about 1.3 billion, Okay, you kena faham Indonesia, China and India alone, kalau you tambah dia punya population dah about 1/3 dunia sebenarnya. Okay, dekat Afrika punya kontinen pun lebih kurang 1.2 billion. That's actually in Africa, but Africa continent, benua. Okay, but if you look from China and Indonesia ada lebih kurang 200 China, Indonesia and India. Okay, so China is actually much more orang kata fast development. Kalau you tengok sekarang ni, even US pun basically takut. Berapa population in the US? Okay, population in the US about 350 million lah, 360 million if I'm not mistaken, boleh check. Okay, so with that kind of what we call it, population opportunity is very low. Okay, but however, dia tak semestinya target tu besar, dia actually okay. There are the two main things. If you look at this question, how large is the target market segment? Okay, for example, kita nampak in India is very large target market segment. However, how fast is it growing? That's actually the next question. But the thing like this, like in Indonesia, the market is very big compared than Malaysia, and currently is actually growing faster. Okay, even when we discuss about the number of unicorn, okay, originally from Indonesia, basically more than in Malaysia. In Malaysia, we don't have any unicorn yet, but Indonesia, you have so many unicorns. You have like Traveloka, Bukalapak, Gojek, as well as Tokopedia. Okay, so this is actually showing that if any one of you here have been to Jakarta, siapa sini aslinya Jakarta? Ada tak among my Indonesian student here, my Indonesian fellow here, you originally from Jakarta? Anyone? Any one of you here? Yes, Christopher, you from Jakarta? Okay. So basically, you can you actually give some background how basically the what we call it, the environment or the building in Jakarta, is it bigger than Kuala Lumpur? Boleh describe Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur, apa bedanya, Christopher? Okay, Manny. Okay. Okay, so that's very true. Okay, the first time I went to Jakarta, it's totally changed my perspective. Jakarta is very big. Okay, it's very big city in Jakarta alone. Okay, and then up to my surprise, even though in Malaysia we have a lot of high-rise building, even we have among the highest building in the world, like KLCC 16 in the world, and then right now we are building PNB 108. Okay, kalau you tengok dekat Malaysia ni, kita ada 3 bangunan tinggi. If you go to KL right now, besides KLCC, there are another 2 high building. Okay, the first one basically TRX, Tun Razak Exchange. Okay, that one is almost completed this year, 2021, and then we have another building called PNB 108. Is it PNB 118 or 108? Boleh check PNB. Okay. And then kalau PNB 118, if I'm 118 ke 118? 118 kot. Okay, PNB 118 completed is going to be among the top 5 highest building in the world. Okay, but Kuala Lumpur is very kecil sebenarnya. It's not actually as big as Jakarta. I went to Jakarta, up to my surprise, the size of the city is much more bigger than Kuala Lumpur, and you have also, you banyak high building, tapi tak lah, dia banyak tapi tak setinggi KL, macam itu. Okay, and then one of the problem that you guys face basically macet. Okay, macet. Apa tu macet, Christopher? What is macet? Yes, it's actually congestion, traffic jam, my goodness. Okay, so that's the reason why there are a lot of opportunity for you, orang kata for Gojek lah. Sebab itu Gojek ni lebih kepada motorcycle lah, lebih kepada ride sharing for motorcycle. Okay, so we go here, we'll entry into target market, serve as a springboard for entry into another segment. Sama juga, if you go into if you decided to venture into that market? Okay, so is it actually become a platform for you to penetrate or for you to expand your business in the future? Okay, I think this question is very basic. We go next, positioning. Positioning is the act of designing the product offering and image to occupy a distinctive place in the target customer's minds. Okay, for example, like Apple, that's why they always actually try to get a very high positioning for their product. Okay, even though if you look right now, Apple started to not downgrade lah, but start to offer the product at lower price for the previous product. Contohnya, if you're actually looking from Apple Watch, okay? Apple Watch basically they are the Apple Watch, the latest one, Apple Watch Series 6. But they're also actually selling Apple Watch SE, okay? And then that's actually for intimate. But in order for them to give this kind of experience or affordability for the lower income or middle income people, they're still selling Apple Watch Series 3, okay, at the lower price, okay? But again, all the new product by Apple is very expensive. For me lah, I think it's very expensive. Again, sama juga macam laptop. Okay, for example, Surface produced by Microsoft is a very expensive laptop as well. I think it can cost somewhere between 3,000 plus to 7 or 6 or 7,000. Similarly, macam Apple juga, produk dia pun mahal. Okay, but if you want to get a more affordable price, for example, many students currently using like Acer, for example, apa lagi laptop yang you pakai? Asus, okay? You can simply get, okay, a better spec but at a lower price simply because that's basically how they position the product. Okay? Okay, so ni macam example lah, tapi example ni dah outdated sikit because kalau kita tengok there are the few other kind of things lah. Okay, kalau tengok dekat sini, we try to look in terms of ease of use plus performance divide by price lah. Okay, so basically this is how they position their product. Okay, you can produce a positioning map for personal computers showing the position of a new product. For example, Easy PC. Okay, you want to produce what we call a new product. So how you position yourself among the competitors. For example, your app sama juga. You try to find two important features that normally wanted by the customers, and then you try to make this kind of positioning map. Okay, how you position your apps in comparison with other competitors. Maybe you can put ease of use element as well as the price, maybe if you look here. Okay, that depending on the features that you want to highlight and position yourself in comparison with the competitors. Okay, and then another aspect we want to look at is the USP for every product, because people going to ask what basically your USP. This referring to the unique selling proposition. Is referring to the statement of a key customer's benefit of a product that differentiates from its competition. Okay, every product that you're going to produce or you're going to commercialize, you should develop, you should formulate their USP. Okay, that means it's a key statement. Whatever you want to highlight about the product, please refer to the USP. Okay. Okay, so I think we go next, the positioning statement. So this is basically describe the customers, the need, the product and key benefit and the product differentiation. You should coming out with this kind of positioning statement in order for you to show clearly who is your customers and what basically the need of your customers. And then based on the need of the customers, what are your product offering? What is your product offerings? And from your product, what be the benefit that you will gain and how your product totally different than the competitors. So we're going to look in terms of positioning statement. So I'm going to give you homework later. Ada satu homework yang semua kena buat. Okay. So nanti saya nak awak buat this kind of thing. Make a positioning statement. So positioning statement senang je sebenarnya. Okay, semua tengok this slide. This slide is very important. I'm going to give you the homework based on your apps. Okay. Your app for whom? Okay, siapa you punya pengguna app contohnya for target customers? Who? Okay, that means you try to understand and highlight the need and opportunity based on your customers. That basically this is the statement of benefit. Okay, and I give you example later, and differentiation. So this is actually how your app basically different than the competitors. Okay, unlike who is your competitors, our product, that means our apps, our mobile app. So what basically the main difference? I give you the example of Tesla here. So this is the positioning statement for Tesla Motors. As you know, Tesla basically produce autopilot car sekarang ni. Okay, so Tesla basically for wealthy individual. Dia sebut kat situ for wealthy individual. Okay, and car aficionados. That mean orang yang suka kereta, people who like car very much. Okay, and then who want an environmentally friendly and high-end sports car. Okay, that means for example your app for whom and apa dia punya karakteristik. And then if you look back here, that okay, this is actually highlight the benefit of your product. The Tesla Roadster is an electronic automobile that delivers unprecedented performance without damaging the environment. They put two aspects. Okay, the first aspect is about their product focusing on a good performance, and secondly, very environmental friendly. Okay, and then we go to the next statement, which is differentiation. Unlike Ferraris and Porsche, our product has fantastic mileage, unparalleled performance, and no direct carbon emission. Okay, so later saya akan bagi homework, semua kena buat individually with regard to your app. Saya nak tengok. Okay, okay. You nanti you tengok balik yang benda ini and you kena produce. Okay, next we go to the next part, market research. In the process of gathering the information that serve as the basis for a sound marketing plan. Okay, so this is where you need to conduct some of research. That means whether you conduct it quantitatively, qualitatively, through survey, through interview. There are so many methods that you could adapt or adopt in collecting the data. Okay, and after that you make the analysis, and from the analysis you will gain the information. Okay, the market research process. First of all, you need to define the product and its unique selling proposition. So from here you identify the customer segment. Develop a set of questions that will provide the necessary data on customer preferences and behavior. That's why at the first place, okay, even you currently develop the app. So you must make sure that the app basically really demanded. And after you develop the prototypes, kenapa saya nak lepas ni saya nak tahu pasal the prototype punya progress. From the prototype, you still actually need to conduct a study. You're going to show to your targeted customers whether they like the prototype or not. Okay, you want to gain the feedback. During the development process, still, you're going to show. That's why people actually will give more feedback when they're seeing the product. In the business, seeing is believing. People want to see the progress of your product. Okay, so having said that, you need to run before you want to know whether there's such a need. Okay, but memang this is such a need for you to develop the app. Later, masa you develop, you can actually still get the feedback. And eventually, when you market the product, still you will get the product. That's why many app dia ada review punya section. Okay, so based on the customer review, maybe customer cakap ada bugs, maybe customer cakap this is not friendly, it's very difficult to do this and to do that. Okay, based on the feedback, that's why kalau tengok app ni dia sentiasa basically update. Okay, tak payah pergi jauh. If you look at UTM Smart punya apps, okay, UTM Smart is always updated. Okay, and then number 2, collect the data using surveys, publish sources, focus group, interview, and other means to secure it. So this is actually the data sources. How you gain it? You can conduct surveys. Okay, this is primary data, or you can conduct focus group, or you can simply buy the market research punya analysis from marketing consulting company. Ada banyak sebenarnya report yang you boleh beli, but very expensive. Okay, for example, I remember last time when we conducted what we call it a study on medical device potential. Okay, ada satu market study ni harga dia agak mahal, 1,000 lebih. That mean about like $300. Could you imagine? And then fortunately in Malaysia dia pun ada jual report juga RM300, RM400 je. But if you want to see the bigger or global perspective, if you actually have the planning to penetrate into overseas market, most probably you need to buy the global punya marketing research. And then we go next, analyze and interpret the data to determine if the product meets the need of one of the customers and determine whether they will pay the price you seek. I think this has been discussed just now or previously. And finally, you need to draw conclusion on the customers, on their needs, preferences, and behavior. So based on the analysis that you have here, so what basically the conclusion that you need to make, and then based on the finding, what kind of action that you should do in order for you to market or develop your product. Okay, so this is basically the process. When we talk about the process, our customer development process, if you look here, you start with the customer development, customer need and problem identify, and then you try to validate, okay, verify customers, create a search plan. For example, you have the apps, okay. Mula-mula you buat app, of course you need to know the customers punya needs. Okay, based on the need, barulah you develop the app and then you try to validate. Okay, this is customer validation, whether they like the features offered by your apps. Okay, whether your app is basically fulfilling their needs, you validate it. Okay, kalau tak betul, you go back here. That's why dalam business dia ada iteration punya process. That means dia punya continuous improvement process. Iterate, that means keep on improving from time to time based on the feedback that you receive. Okay. And then customer creation, develop users demand, and company building. You need to create an operational sales and marketing plan. Definitely you need to iterate. For example, even though you have launched the product to the market, definitely after the launching of the product, the competitors will take action. Okay, so this is where you need to embrace with the what we call it, improvement of the learning process. So you need to upgrade your product from time to time. You're not doing the business in silo. There would be a lot of competitors who's going to challenge, okay, the relevancy of your product in the market. So that's the reason why iteration process is very important. Okay, so the 4 elements of marketing. So this is marketing mix. I'm not going to discuss this in detail. I believe you have learned this in the principle of marketing subject, as well as this semester you are learning marketing for innovative product. Benda ni dah basic. Okay, maybe I just want to focus on the place, because for this class project you need to develop the apps. Okay, so the distribution, the channel might be different than the conventional way. Okay, how you actually promote your app. So the place is basically virtually. Okay, whether it's on Play Store, App Store, or Apps Gallery for Huawei punya users lah. Okay. Okay, so customer relationship management. So this consists of a set of conversations with the customers. If you remember, when we learn about business model canvas, there is one segment called customer relation. Definitely, to approach the customers is very, very challenging, but to retain the customers is another question. How are you going to make sure that that kind of recurring transaction? How are you going to make sure that the customer loyal with your products? Okay, so this is where customer relationship management plays a crucial role. Okay, for you to retain your profit, having this kind of loyal customers. Okay, so having this kind of conversation, this is example lah. Okay, kalau if you look here, the customers we search, acquire, use, maintain, and dispose. But having this kind of conversation with them, so the firm need to design, the firm need to build, the firm need to sell, the firm need to service. Okay, part of the customer relationship management is after sales service. Okay, if you're buying a car, definitely this is very important. Okay, you not only design the product based on the customer's feedback and preferences, you not only build, you not only sell to them, but also what are the services aspect. How are you going to service them even after the transaction has occurred? Okay, okay. So another aspect, I think this is more or less you dah belajar pasal benda ni, the 5 characteristics of an innovation. Even if you actually want to market your product, you need to see this kind of innovation element. I believe this key aspect has been discussed back in your technology management subject. There are few aspects that you need to look at when it comes to the innovation. Okay, so the first one, relative advantage, represent the perceived superiority of an innovation over the current product or solution it will replace. Okay, you need to know what basically the best features you're going to offer based on your product than the competitors or than previous product. Okay, compatibility represent the perceived fit of an innovation with potential adopters adjusting value, know-how, experience, and practices. So having said that, when you basically go into the market, commercialize your product, how compatible it with the adopted existing value. Okay, how basically the product in line, okay, with the customer preferences and practices. Okay, you need to look in terms of the compatibility. And then the next part is complexity. Describe the extent to which an innovation is perceived to be difficult to understand or use. Okay, so you need to remember, if the product is seems very difficult or complex for the customers to use it, that means we're referring to the ease of use element. So if it's very challenging, it's very difficult, so the customers will adopt it very slowly. That means it's very difficult for the customers to adopt with it. Okay, so the slower the rate of adoption. So make sure when you develop this kind of apps, they have the element of ease of use. Okay, triability represent the extent to which a potential adopters can experience or experiment with the innovation before adopting it. Okay, so sometimes you're going to give some kind of trial. So that's the reason why ada certain apps ni dia akan bagi 30 days free trial. And after 30 days, if you actually do not cancel the subscription, they're going to charge you. Many app macam itu, dia hanya bagi sebulan because they want you to familiar with the app first. And then after sometimes, they akan bagi some kind of deadline. Okay, this is the time for you to pay. That means you agreed, you satisfied with their services, barulah you bayar. Okay, and then the last but not least, observability represent the extent to which the adoption and benefit of innovation are visible to others within the population of potential adopters. The greater the visibility, the higher rate of adoption by those that follow. So that's why sometimes there are many customers that are going to buy a product based on the testimony or feedback from the earlier customers. They actually use this kind of wait and see. Okay, how basically feedback. For example, if Proton produce a new model of cars, so basically some of the customer want to wait, want to actually read the feedback ataupun tengok macam mana other people review about the product. Once they confirm and then they take this kind of orang kata test driving punya activity, barulah dia beli kereta tu. Okay, so this is about DOI, Diffusion of Innovation. Okay, Diffusion of Innovation, I believe saya ada cerita sikit-sikit, but this is actually based on the Professor Rogers punya theory, okay, the chasm model. If you look here, when we look in terms of Diffusion of Innovation model, okay, DOI lah, sebenarnya dalam DOI ni they have a chasm punya aspect. If you look here, there are innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggard. Okay, so innovators and enthusiasts. Okay, basically this is where a group of innovation adopters, whatever new technology that produced in the market, they're going to buy it. Okay, because they're really into this kind of technology. For example, when we look in terms of Apple fan, whatever new model, new product produced by Apple, they're going to buy it. Okay, and then the next part, early adopters. So this is what we call as visionaries. Okay, for the early adopters, they're going to buy it at an early stage. Okay, they know about it, but it takes some time for them to buy compared than the innovators. And then before you can penetrate into the next segment, which is the early majority, there are chasm. Chasm is actually where this time is very crucial for you to develop this kind of testimony or feedback or evidence for you to convince, to build the trust among the majority group, the mainstream group here. So because early majority normally want to see the evidences, want to have this kind of review and feedback first before they decided whether they want to buy your product or they will opt to buy the competitor's product. Okay, so this is early majority. And then late majority going to follow the early majority. And eventually there are one group of people skeptics whereby they don't bother much about the technology development. They're quite skeptical. They're going to say that this kind of new product or technology or innovation not impact their life tremendously. Okay. Okay, selling the transfer of product from one person or entity to another through an exchange mechanism. I think they want to elaborate more. So I think we're moving towards the end of the today's chapter. A SaaS marketing plan enables a new firm to identify the target customers, set its marketing objective, and implement the steps necessary to sell the product and build a solid customer relationship. I think that's end for today's sharing session. I hope that you really understand the importance of marketing plan for the technology startup, particularly with regard to development of the product should be based on the customer preferences. You need to know who is your target market, and from understanding the target market, definitely you're going to develop an apps and the product. So in your case, it's basically the app, and how are you going to make sure that the app that you develop, okay, for your project, fulfilling the need and demand of your customer, even though it's just a class project, but I actually expecting you to conduct some kind of market survey as well. Then after you develop the app, you need to validate your app through this kind of receiving the feedback with regard to your apps, and after that barulah kita tengok yang lain. So far, any question with regard to this topic, everyone? Guys? Okay, I'm going to do the housekeeping punya session. Everyone, please open your camera. Guys, open your camera, please. Yes, Christopher, Hazel, Yuman. Who else? Iqbal. Wow, rambut Iqbal makin panjang dah. Saya tak dengar lagi suara Akmal Azri hari ni. How are you, Akmal?
Baik, Datuk. Sambil makan.
Sambil saya makan. Okay, Farhan. Mahri, saya susah nak pronounce. Wei.
Mari wei, Doktor.
Mahri, okay. Mahri. Okay, mana Atika Wante? Mana lagi seorang Atika? Atika Alia. Zanita Khairunisa, Sabah is there. Faris Marijan, Nafal the Dragon. Saya suka lah what you. This is very unique. This is how you brand yourself by putting a unique name. Nafal the Dragon. Okay. Okay, so right now I want to get an update from each team. What basically the progress of your apps? Maybe going to start with Hazel Group. Hazel.
Yes. I think I will just tell you first. Because previously we are using the apps for travel, then we changed to another one because you say it's not suitable, and we changed to apps
No,
that.
I don't say it's not suitable. I say you need to reconsider. Okay.
So we changed to another one, which is the apps for dental suppliers and dental clinics. Because that one is for the existing phenomena is they are actually search one by one the brochure and then contact. Do you have this? Do you have this? It is very time consuming and wasted human resource. So we have developed the app so actually we put all the suppliers products on this. You can just place orders straight away. You can just search and then you can actually direct contact with their sales agent on the apps also. So we are like a one-stop platform to connect the dental supplier and then the clinics. So the target customer is actually both the suppliers and also the clinics. So we have developed our prototypes.
Are you going to share that?
Yeah.
You want to share? Okay.
Need to share screen. Or anyone from our group can share the screen.
you can simply share. Look at the share button at the below of the WebEx. It's okay, Hazel. It's okay. Later, you just screenshot and share on WhatsApp. Okay.
Okay. Oh, you can proceed to another group first.
Yes. I actually looking at the time. Okay, thank you very much, Hazel. I think that's a very good progress. I love the idea very much. Okay, and maybe the next part that you're going to conduct is your market research. Okay, whether the customers, whether the targeted customer really want to subscribe, want to use your apps. Okay, and then you're going to once they actually what we call it agreed or perhaps said that this app is very beneficial for them. So the next part you develop and then you need to validate. You need to show the features of your app to the targeted customers. At least you can improve. Okay, what you have developed here definitely needs some improvement. And how you're going to improve that based on the feedback that you're going to receive during the validity. So for this week, you can each group at least dah ada this kind of prototype. Make sure next week you dah start this kind of market, a very simple market survey and validation if possible. Okay. Okay. Next group I'm going to call Malini. I never listened to Malini voice. Malini. Yes. Same group or different group with Hazel?
I'm same group with Hazel.
Alamak, same group with Hazel. So in that case, I'm going to call Farhan. Farhan, bawahkan sikit kamera awak tu. Baru nampak comel muka awak tu. Okey, bawahkan sikit lagi. Bawahkan sikit, tak nampak. Kan comel tu. Okey, Farhan, progress of your project.
Yes, Doctor. So we have choose now file the groceries, online groceries. So we connect the customer with the suppliers. And we have already made the prototype also.
Okay, just screenshot letter and show it to me. Just screenshot it. Nanti not now. Nanti takes time nak share dan sebagainya. So make sure you screenshot and show on the WhatsApp. I want to have to glance through how it looks like. Okay. So I think online grocery is very competitive market because there are so many kind of online groceries. So to have the group and the rest, make sure at the same time you also try to benchmark any kind of existing apps available because this is basically your competitors. So what made your apps different or unique than the competitors app? Boleh? Okay, besides you doing this kind of market research based on the customers or target market, you also need to conduct competitors analysis. Okay? Okay, thank you very much, Farhan, for the update. So I'm going to ask the next one from, saya akan panggil randomly, Wan Naziha. Wan Naziha, are you there? Are you here?
Ya, Doktor.
Okay, would you open your camera? Open. Okay, will you update the progress of your apps project?
Hari tu kita orang buat trace apps. Jadi sekarang kita tukar kepada children care apps di mana kita fokus kepada target market kita di mana the busy parents. Dan di mana diorang busy tak dapat urus ke anak. Jadi bila diorang balik kerja, diorang dapat jimatkan masa melalui diorang take care diorang punya children by our apps. Di mana apps kami ada banyak kategori.
Okay.
Macam baby's foods, baby's clothes dan pelbagai.
Interesting. Tak apa, nanti saya tengok macam mana interesting. Okay. So that means you need to validate the app with the young parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
The new couple
You must,
parents.
yes, especially the young couple lah.
Yeah.
Young
Yeah.
parents. That means they have limited knowledge how to take care of their kids. Okay,
Yeah.
that's actually target market. So you must make sure that nanti you buat few study, you blast to the young parents. Cari orang yang baru lahir anak lah. Okay.
Okay.
Aja, thank you very much. And then I go to the another 2 group. Sampai 2 group lagi yang belum update. Faris, Marijan, will you update? You sama group ke lain? Faris, Marijan.
Same group as Farhan, Dokter.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, siapa lagi? Shikin, Diana. Shikin, kenapa muka awak macam sedih? Cuba senyum sikit.
Same group as Hazel.
Okay. Okay, next. Siapa lagi? Nurul Izzah?
Our apps is exercise, which our target market is children and primary school students and teachers, because during pandemic COVID-19 we are having online class, so we want to build this app to help children especially to adapt with online class, and they have fun way of learning.
Through exercise, you mean?
Our app's name is Exercise.
Exercise is actually a learning platform. Am I right?
Yeah, it's like do practice. Please, teacher can give practice through this apps.
It's like online tutorial lah. This is you have a lot of competitors. Definitely, it's very competitive. So how my question, 2 questions for your team. Basically, the first one, how basically you make a difference? What basically the main difference that you can offer from your app than the competitors? The second question, what is the revenue stream? How are you going to generate profit based on your apps? Okay, everyone, similar question lah. How basically you're going to generate profit based on your apps? I want to know that next week. Okay? Okay, and last but not least, siapa group lagi yang belum update? Last but not least.
Group saya, Doktor.
Siapa awak? Mana?
Atika. Group Atika.
Adi, mana? Mana muka? Tak nampak dah. Anyone can see Atika face? Awak low internet?
Maybe.
Low internet.
Tapi saya dah on camera.
Okay, tak apa Atika, just update.
Oh, okay. Kita orang belum macam start develop the prototype yet, but we have discussed more on the features that we want to make it available on the apps. Our app is actually hyper home, focusing on the renovation and decoration of house. So we actually combine the features that has been available that has been offered by various applications and website into one application. Which is we have house renovation and decoration simulation, where people can actually describe and make it like a form of a visual form of their house that they want to renovate and decorate, so that, and then after that they can actually get the contractor or the interior designer through the app, macam booking Grab, tapi ni kita booking contractor and ID macam tu. And then we also have offer untuk booking for house inspection untuk orang yang baru beli rumah. And then kita ada juga advertisement untuk house punya barang-barang, house appliance and decoration stuff macam tu. Kita akan start develop prototype by this week juga. Itu je, Doktor.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's very interesting idea. But I want you to think of, because you said that you're going to help the customers, the user, visualize how they're going to decorate or renovate their house. So how are you actually doing that? So do you have this kind of expertise to do that? So that's actually my main question. I know that there should be some kind of demand for the apps, but my question is more in terms of technicality of your apps. So how are you going to make sure that you could help the users? Okay, nanti fikirkan I want to see the apps. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much, everyone. As informed earlier, we don't have class tomorrow, so just focusing on the apps development. Okay, and then we're going to have class next week lah. Okay, I think that's all for those who have signed in the attendance. You may leave the session now. Thank you. Have a nice day. For those yang belum, let me reshare again the attendance punya ni. Okay, thank you everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Oops, what happened to this?
Doctor, may I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
For the app, do you want a fully functioning app or just like a prototype?
Sorry?
For the app, do you want it to be like fully functional or just like the design of the app?
It's actually functioning prototype if possible. But you don't actually publish sebenarnya. If you're using this kind of app platform, you can make it functioning. Though you are not publish it on App Store or Play Store. You got it? Okay?
Okay. Okay, Doctor. Thank you.